Nobody needs a swing. Actually, I heard that sentence for so many times. The swing was our first product that we ever designed and produced, and it actually became our trademark. And it wasn't started like a product it's that we thought about, or we made a research like what would be the best product to start with, or what has the best business potential. It's actually started from a vision that I had in my head. And I heard for so many times, nobody needs a swing, so why, as a furniture company, did you decide to create a swing? And I always answer back, so what do we need? Maybe we need to laugh, we need to have memories, we need to have experiences, maybe we need to have fun. So I think that all those things the swing allows. My name is Tal Zur. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Iota. Actually, Shula Moses is my partner. Here you can see her. We met 7 years ago in a gas station cafe, in the most basic and not creative place to have creative ideas. And she told me that she wants to build a brand that will provide jobs for unemployed women through knitting. She's a very good knitter. I actually didn't know nothing about knitting and nothing about social businesses. And I told her that I need to think about it. I made a research and I discovered that knitting, it's the only craft in the world that has international signs like tones in music. So if I'll teach you to knit, I'll teach you this language, and you will know to read the sketch and to crochet. Crochet, it's knitting with one needle. And I thought that it's smart, because if our vision is to create communities of women all around the world, that we're going to provide them a job, if we're going to have our own language, so we can overcome language difficulties, culture difficulties, distance, and I thought that it's a good start to start with. When I understood that we're going to work with the knitting craft, when craft would be, handwork would be our method, I thought that we need to design our yarns, our materials, like a high-end fashion brand that design our own fabric, we design our own yarns. So you cannot find our yarns anywhere else. We design them, we produce them, and it actually gives us the ability to control there's color, the thickness, its strength, the character. And here you actually can see a very good example, because both of them are made from grandma square, granny square. It's maybe the most basic, familiar crochet shape. And on your right, you can see part of our outdoor-indoor collection. The yarn is waterproof and UV protected. It's very thick and strong, and that's why it fits very well to furniture. And on your left, you can see a blanket that it is knitted exactly the same, but the yarn makes it soft and cozy, and they behave completely different, although it's from exactly the same pattern. All our products are handmade. They are made by women that we teach to knit and provide them a job. We work with Bedouin community in the south of Israel and with Syrian refugees in Istanbul. I'll tell you more about the communities, but I actually decided to start with the design because we consider ourselves as a design company. I think the biggest challenge that we had, or I had as a designer, is to design something that I'm going to teach someone else to produce. It's a completely different process than a regular design. Imagine that when you design something, you make a sketch, and then you go maybe to the professional carpenter that you can find. You give him the sketch, and he's supposed to produce exactly what you had in mind according to the sketch. But here, it was a different process, because the women that we work with don't know how to knit. We teach them how to knit, so it means that they are not professional and at some part of at the beginning of the process. So we had to design product that has tolerance for mistakes. For example, this poof is made out of 200 flowers that are knitted separately, and actually the assembly is done or at a studio or at the workshop in Istanbul. And it's the first flower that I learned how to knit. And if someone gonna make 7 or even 10 mistakes in one flower, no one would notice, because together they become a texture. The swing is also a good example for our method because it's made out of 187 elements, very small elements that takes to knit something like days, almost weeks, I would say. And the assembly is done, and it's according to a sketch, but it's never look exactly the same. So we have kind of a method that create products that are gonna be one-offs all the times. The way that we work with the communities is very personal. The community in Hura with the Bedouins, we always have a head of a community, and we go there and meet the women once a week in a community center. And actually, the meeting is based on learning new products, quality control, providing yarns, working on details. But what I discover that when we met, that's the only time in the week that they're gonna socially meet with women that are not from their family is when we met during our classes. Because I discovered that women don't supposed to meet other women because they brings ideas to their heads. So you're supposed to stay with your, it's not so small, but with your family all the time. And when we met in the community center, I realized that maybe we learn how to knit, or we bring them the yarns, but we also drink coffee. I don't know, talk about our kids, what we feel about many things right now. And I saw that it's very, very important. The social interaction was very, very important to the women, but also to us too, to get to know them and to understand their abilities and the way that they work actually. The Syrian refugees community actually started in a different way. We were in touch with a nonprofit organization for Syrian refugees, and the head of the place over there was really excited because we wanted to provide jobs and to give the women to be able to earn money. But actually, we realized that the women themselves didn't want to work with us because we are from Israel. And I remember that it was the first time that I felt that maybe I failed, that maybe our idea is going to fail because it doesn't succeed to overcome what I had in mind. But then I'm happy to say that they introduced us to another Syrian refugees community. The head of the community there, her name is Isabella. She's a French woman who was married to a Turkish man, and she's doing an amazing job with us. And we created there a nice community, and we have a workshop there, so the women can choose to work from their houses or to work from the workshop. They can bring their kids over there. And I think that what I also learned, that when I'm speaking about it and I'm saying it out loud, a small boutique brand from Israel that based in Jaffa provide jobs for Syrian refugees who lives in Istanbul. So many conflicts in one sentence that I feel that maybe design, kind of a secret language, I would say, and maybe a goodwill can solve. And it gives us, I think that I understood in that time what is the impact that we can have and that we are doing. I can say that Iota it's part of a bigger economic consumption that's called circular economy. It means that we are, as a society, needs to take care also of on the economical issues that we have, and it's related to sustainability and also to a social impact. So first, all the incomes that Iota has are being invested in other social projects. That's one. But also, I feel that it's not less important that the way that we work together with the women is based on trust. I don't know when the woman works. I don't know if they work from their houses or work from the workshop. I don't know what yarns do they take. And the fact that there is no, I would say, micromanagement, it's a different way of understanding that if you work in that method, especially if it's not something that it's next to our house and it's abroad, so it must work this way. And I think that the fact that they earn money and they choose what to do with the money that they earned, it's something that it's very, very important. I remember that one of the Bedouins told me that she now chose that the money that she earned, she's gonna buy new beds for her kids, for example. And it's something that maybe it sounds like everyday life for most of us, but it doesn't work that way. Or another woman told me that she now, when she's working, she has a voice in her house, so she can be part of the decision making in her family, and her son went to study in the university, for example. During the last 7 years, we actually made really important, I would say, and very interesting collaborations. I think I chose few to show you maybe which one were like changing points for us, and I think that Peugeot was one of them. It was a collaboration with the French cars company. We met at Maison Objet. It's a design fair in Paris. And actually, I met her, the material designer. She didn't know a word in English. I didn't know a word in French. We communicate through Google Translate, but this is another story, but it was really fun and easy. And I think what was the turning point for us, that a big brand like Peugeot, and believe me, I have a list of brands that I would love to collaborate with, but Peugeot was never one of them. But I understood that first we design a special yarn for them that we could use afterwards. So we understood our abilities in textile design and making. That's one thing. But more than that, Peugeot considered as a very big brand, and she chose to put handmade rugs in her in their conceptual and high-end cars. And those cars, they are like robots. They have the best technology that you can imagine. And although they chose to put handmade rug in their cars, so it means that although technology takes care of all our life, but still people are seeking for the handprint. And I think that it changes the way that we thought about what is our ability. The second collaboration that we had is with Tom Dixon. It was in the Salone. It's the biggest fair in Milan. And I met Tom for a lunch in his offices in London. And he offered us to be part of Multiplex, a project that he did the same year in Milan, but a year before in London. And Multiplex talked about the future consumer and what he is going to look for, and how it will, and how he will look like. And Tom Dixon was talking about a consumer that's going to be responsible, that's going to be smart, but also would look for something authentic. And I think it was a really amazing experience for us. First, there were many people, and it was a great exposure. But more than that, we put 2 swings in a very small and goldy room that we received from in that space. And we put 2 swings in front of each other. And actually what we saw, that how people interact. And it was really, really interesting to see first how people that were completely strangers starting to laugh and to communicate very easy. And more than that, we discovered that the swing is one of the best Instagram moments, that's for sure, but it's also like the best icebreaker. And that's why, if I can think about the beginning of then I started to talk, so what a product or what an item can do in a space. So I thought that the fact that it was so easy to communicate after you left because you experienced something, it was a good start for us all to understand what we want to do with our products too. The collaboration with Tolmans was launched 3 months ago. Maybe I think that I can say that Tolman, it's the biggest furniture company here in Israel. They import very, very good high-end brands, design brands, and I'm very happy to be on the same list with them. And we did a private collection, a custom-made collection for swings and rugs for them. And I think that it was very special for us also to see how brands, big companies like Tolman's, understand that the social impact and the way that their choices are important and actually can create an impact. It was a great process to work with, and it's something that the company shows with a lot of respect, and it was very interesting for us to work in that scale. The last one that I want to show, it's with ABS Studio. It's completely different. It's a very small studio in the south of Tel Aviv. It's a ceramic studio with super talented guy. And I think that what I like about collaboration, I think that it stretch our borders in crocheting and in knitting. It stretch our craft, the border of our craft. I maybe ceramic and tech and knitting can consider like similar ideas of craft, but to combine them is very, very hard. And I think that the fact that we were trying to do something very cool together and to stretch the border of the ceramic and to stretch the border of crocheting created something really new, kind of a new language and cool that I enjoyed a lot to make. What all those products and all those collaboration on our work was awarded 2 years ago on the Butterfly Mark. It's a for positive luxury. In the same list, you can find Dior and Yves Saint Laurent and Kenzo. And positive luxury are looking for brands that you can trust. It means that brands that they would that actually take an action to do something positive for the planet or for the society. And I think it also was kind of a turning point for us because it was awarded as an international award. And I think that we are the first and actually the only Israeli company that ever received it. And I think it's kind of a stamp that I'm happy to have and to present. And it's something that leads us all the way, and they become actually our partners. And it's also very interesting to collaborate and to work with someone who is all the time seeking to create a community of business and companies that are having the same motivation in their work. When I started Iota, I actually built it in a different way. It builds like a startup and not like a regular design business. I thought since the beginning, and I told Shula that the fact that we are working with craft and our work is handmade doesn't mean that it has to look like an old company. So we have an investor, as I told you, and next year our plan is to go to open the market in the US market. So I'm looking for more strategic partners and for more investors, and I'm having meetings actually those months. And so we have investors. We develop a product. It doesn't look like an app. It looks like a swing or like a rug, but it's still a product. We have an amazing technology. It's a super low-tech technology, and I can compare a technique to a technology. And I always talk about our head of design as a CTO in a high-tech company. And also we dream to collaborate with big, important brands all over the world. So it's built in a different way. And I think it also helps us to have our dream. And when I speak about kind of a startup company, I can show you what we did in the COVID, because Europe started to close and we were 6 designers that were in the studio, and we felt like we have to do something. So instead of selling final product, we decided to develop kind of a series of DIY kits that contains our yarns, instructions, hook, all the elements that you need to actually to knit by yourself an amazing and beautiful product. And I think that what we wanted is we wanted to take people out of the Zoom to make them do something with their hands and to be satisfied. We did a very, very simple product and a very high level product. And it was, and it's still a really good success and become something permanent in our business. And we keep developing it. And what we also know that knitting and crocheting are considered as a meditative craft, and it's like a cure for Alzheimer and dementia. In the professional language, it's considered like a yoga to the brain. So I think that it was a good reaction, but I can't take all the credit to myself, because I think a few months ago in this year Olympic Games, Tom Daley really helped us. Tom Daley is a British athlete. He won the gold medal in diving, and actually he was just when he was on his breaks, when he was sitting on the backyard, he actually he was shooted when he was knitting. And it became a sensation because there were so many people. It's really it opened a big conversation, a big discussion about craft and gender, about wellness, about, I think all the Olympic Games this year talked about wellness and about our inner life and how do we deal with stress. But it's not just for athletes. I think that what he opened a conversation about the importance of craft when you live a stressful life, and I think that that's what happened, and that's what we all used to live right now. So it was interesting to see how what we wanted to say become relevant, but it was also something that it actually all the dots become like a one circle and complete each other. So actually, I need to thank him as well. I'm about to finish, and I wanted to tell you that I always describe Iota as as a platform, as a method, as a way of thinking, maybe a method through design, and it can, and it's actually about to extend to other crafts as well. I think that I'm saying that we are a platform because we give the ability to choose in products that are doing a social impact. But I think that the people that will make the change is our clients, the designers and the architecture that we work with, the companies that will choose to put in their spaces and in their walls brands like us that will that has an impact, and other than brands that doesn't take responsibility and has an impact. And I think that that's why I'm saying that we are a platform, but we need the people that surround us to support this idea to make our dream happen. And if I'm talking about dream, I would say that maybe my dream and our dream is to create communities of women all around the world that we're gonna teach them to knit and provide them a job, but they will serve the local market that they live in. I think that in that way, first, we will encourage local production and the local market. And we need to understand that the craft that we're talking about, it's not a folkloristic craft for, not for the Bedouins and not for the Syrian refugees. I'm looking at the craft that we work with. Now it's crocheting and knitting, but it can be more than that. It is something that is a platform to work with that we can teach all over the world. And by serving the local market, we can also maybe reduce the transportation that we know that it's very important and effective on the sustainable approach. So I think that it's something that can be very big and international. And if I'm dreaming, so when I'm dreaming that trip all over the world. I'm actually in this business for quite long, and I know this industry. I actually know how important it is, and I know that of course it feels good, but more than it feels good, I see that it's it's the right thing economically. It's also the right thing business-wise, and I understand how much power do we have, especially when we do it together. I can maybe imagine what would happen if we're going to have 10 communities that we can work with, or maybe 50 communities that we could provide them a job. I think that it's interesting to imagine how would it affect their children. Thank you.